Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show.
It's clear now, dismantled, dismembered, safety for the few. The message, wrapped up in cellophane, cheaply mass-produced. No confidence anymore. Please don't waste your breath or my time. I'm burnt out. You're careless, abhorrent, obnoxious, coward without a spine. You prey on weekend minds and their fears, sickly shell of a man. No confidence anymore. Please don't waste your breath or my time. I'm burned out.
What's up, everybody? Another week, another edition of the show. This week I have Pat from the band Graduation Speech. Pleasure to have you here, Pat. Welcome to the show.
What's up, man? How's it going?
It's going great.
Hell yeah.
It's an evening where we get to spend some time talking about music. So
this is nice, man. It's nice and quiet in my house right now, which it always is, but this is good. This is good. I like this.
Nice. So why don't you give me a quick synopsis on like how you came to be in Graduation Speech?
Oh shit. Okay. Nice. Basically, I mean, the band kind of started as Kevin Day is the main homie, and he was doing like a lot of acoustic stuff and like doing recordings and this and that. This is actually kind of funny. So then I knew Kevin like for work, like he works for a brewing company. I worked there on and off this and that. And I lived in Southfield at the time, and I would cook a lot of frozen pizzas. And so that process is about 20 minutes long. And so within that 20 minutes, I would lay down the best 15-second video of me playing piano on Instagram. Now, mind you, it's only 15 seconds, and don't believe everything you see on the internet, because it would take me like 100 tries. I mean, I'm just trying to do something dumb like, It could have been like a Bright Eyes song, or it could have been this or that. But that 15 seconds, I nailed it, you know? And so then Kevin's doing these recordings, and he reached out to me and was like, "Hey," he's like, I see you've been playing piano and stuff. Like, can you come in and like I just want to add maybe some more to the tracks when I do my next recording. I'm like, yeah, sure. And so we get to this house, and I brought like my piano, and I listen, I'm self-taught. I don't know a lot. Like, I'm a lot better now. This was, years ago. But I get there and he looks at me. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Here's the songs. What do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know. I thought you were gonna tell me what to play." And he's like, "Well, I always see you playing online." I was like, "Yeah, that takes me forever to get 15 seconds out." Like, you know what I mean? It takes me 20 minutes just to record 15 seconds. I can't even play a full song. And funny enough, so then we still battled it out, and we knocked out some piano for a couple songs. It's simple enough music, so it worked out. I wasn't doing like a grand finale, but that's how I kind of got into just jamming with Kevin musically. Like, I've known him as a person for years before we even kind of got along in the same project. But I was a drummer for years, so basically it kind of formed. Like, I did the little piano thing, and then he was like, "Hey, can you help me do drums on a track?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So now I'm doing drums, and it kind of started as his own little project. I mean, he's a great songwriter and writes everything, and then kind of would bring us in to help him record full band. And then eventually, with us and the other guys, he was just like, "Hey, now that we've recorded this full band, would you guys be interested in like playing this, like gigging out?" And we're like, "Well, yeah, sure. This was fun doing it. So like, yeah, let's go play some gigs." And obviously it's a longer than that, such of a short story, but that's basically how we all came together in a sense, which
Now,
it's been fun. It's a fun ride.
yeah, if someone brings you in like that, I love the telling the truth as soon as you get there. Like, no, man, I thought you were going to tell me what I had to play.
Yeah, yeah. I was ready for him to be like, "Hey, here's the lead." I'll be like, "Okay, I'll hit it." And then I started thinking it through. I was like, "Well, if he knows what it is, he could have just hit it. What the hell am I doing here?"
Yeah. It's that soul searching. The guy knows he's got songs. He just wants to add a little bit more to it. Even though they're his songs, he needs another touch on top of it that isn't distinctly all his.
For sure. Well, he can't play drums, so I know that for a fact. Or maybe he can, but I've never seen it. So
Now, what would you describe? I mean, in today's world of playlists and algorithms and all that kind of shit, what would you like label the band as if you had to pick a genre type? Because I don't want to label you.
sure. I mean, this is definitely tough because I always get, friends or people I work with. They're like, "Well, what do you sound like?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't," because then I don't want to be like, "We don't sound like anything." But it's like, it's definitely like an indie rock. It can definitely fall into those, patterns of that. You know what I mean? We do have I'll tell you what, seeing us like play live definitely gives a way different experience than like the stuff that we've done, like recording. I mean, because you can tell when you see us live, like we're having fun for sure. You know what I mean? And I think that's like the main thing that really just keeps me, I guess, going for a lot, for the most of the part is just like, just getting out there and just really hitting the stuff. So I would say indie is my guess, like an indie rock,
Yeah. And if it's not fun, then what the fuck are you doing it for? That's
exactly. That's 100. If once you get stressed out, it's like, well, I don't have, what am I doing here?
I take the same approach with this show. It's been going for so long now that I just, after a while and people are like, "It's weird. You don't have commercials." I'm like, you know why? Because I think if I had like commercials and had people that I had to answer to for a certain amount of downloads, I'm like, then it becomes a job. Then it's not fun anymore.
And you're gonna act a certain way. You know what I mean? Like you're trying too hard to push something,
Yeah. And I'm like, I just like the free talking, trying to help fucking bands get their music out there. I'm like, that's what I love. Like, I want to see that go. I don't want to see fucking Purple Mattress sell another mattress. You know what I mean?
And then you're there, and then you could be like, you know what? I had those guys on, and now they're selling out stadiums.
Right.
I mean, have you ever had anybody on that just like really skyrocketed?
Yeah. We've had a couple bands early on. There was a band, Wild Rivers, who was starting out, and they're now playing like opening for Noah Khan. Like,
oh, that's crazy.
So it's one of those things, but it's like, you know what? The music speaks for itself, and And that's really what I just try to push, man, is like talent and music. It gives itself, once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
And if you can't stop unhearing it, that means it's fucking great. So like
Yeah.
you just kind of find yourself in love with that music and just spreading, because there's so much fucking music and not everyone falls into an algorithm and not everyone falls onto a playlist. And it's a shame, with so many great artists out there that it's so fucking hard.
That is true. And my algorithms and playlists or shuffles, whatever you want to call them, they're as screwed as everybody else's because I just get the same songs. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what I put. I could put on Radiohead and it's like, hey, listen to this Take It Back Sunday song. I'm like, no, I can't. I've heard this is on every other playlist I got. Like, stop feeding me this. Brand New's another one. I don't know what it is about Brand New, but you put anything on and it's shoving Brand New down my throat. And I'm
surprised that it shoves Brand New after everything they went through.
For sure.
Like, it's weird that, and like even an algorithm should know that someone may have been canceled.
Get rid of thumbs down. I'm doing everything in my willpower to get rid of it. I was a TBS guy, so.
Yeah. So I mean, this is where like I hate when I have to compare certain things, but especially with the new EP, like listening to it as much as I have, it was someone asked me like, man, who is this? And I tell them, and I was like, you know what? I need to find that comparison, which always sucks. I don't like to compare. I don't like the genre label, but I was like, you know what? Because it's one of my favorite albums I've ever had, and it was so pivotal in my life. And it was Jawbreaker's "Dear You."
Oh hell yeah!
And I was like, man, this like Kevin's voice sounds a little Blakey, in it. And I was like, the songs sound very Dear You-ish.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like, that's like, and I keep going back to it. And what was funny was I started like running a comparison, like listening to a song on on the EP, then listening to a song on Dear You. Yeah. And then even at one point I go to Jets to Brazil and I'm like, yeah, man, it's like got that total flavor that I'm like, so now I can be like, hey, you like Jets to Brazil? You like Jawbreaker, Dear You? Here you go. That this is your new band that's going to fucking sweep you up with that.
That's awesome. I'll tell you right now, if Kevin was here to be through the roof, he's a huge Jawbreaker fan. And I do, like, I've listened to Jawbreaker. I'm not as much as like Kevin's like, he'll go to the, he'll travel to go to the shows.
I flew to Denver to see Jawbreaker with the Descendants face to face in Sam I Am. So yeah, Jawbreaker's huge for me. So
nice. Yeah, Kevin's a diehard fan. So and that would be a huge compliment. It is a huge compliment, but Kevin would be like through the roof for that, for sure.
Well, and that's, I mean, now that you say that he's a huge fan, I mean, you always kind of pull from, it makes sense. You pull from the influences and the things that you love, whether you knowingly do it or not, it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally fine. But like, there is a distinction between, I don't want people to get the idea that they're going to turn it on and it's a new Jets to Brazil album or a new fucking Jawbreaker. It's distinctly different, but it runs those parallel lines to it that it could just be sitting up there too. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, we appreciate that. That's we'll take that one.
Good.
Yeah.
For you in your life, like when did music kind of take a hold of you? Like you said you'd listen to a couple episodes and I apologize for you having to listen, but, well,
I didn't want to get blindsided. That's the real reason I was listening.
So I tried to tell people not to listen. So it's, because I try to ask, not the same cookie cutter fucking questions that every other interview has, but my big thing, because it was a pivotal moment in my life, and that's what I always try to find out about people, is like that first moment, like, everybody's heard it from me 1,000 times. Beach Boys, 6 years old, Garden State Parkway,
nice.
Fucking Little Surfer, heard that song. From that day on, my life has been different. And like, I try to see if anybody has a memory of that, of like when they distinctly know, like they heard for the first time, it wasn't just music in the background. It was you finally heard something that you were like, fuck, what is it? And of course at 6, you probably didn't say fuck, but it depends on what kind of family you came from.
For sure.
But do you remember like what you heard that made you want more music?
Yes, I do. Now that you're saying, I would never have an answer to this, but now that the way that you described yours, also sidetrack real quick. I didn't realize that the Beach Boy guy was like the whole Charles Manson thing. I just found this out like last month.
Oh, Dennis? Yeah, the drummer?
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
that was crazy. But I don't know. I knew Charles Manson was a nut. I just didn't know. I never really got into the whole story. I guess I don't watch like the crime podcast or anything like that. But
Well, they didn't really touch. So that portion. So this is, my little. We'll sidetrack for a second. But
sure, yeah.
So that portion of like the story of Charles Manson and Dennis Wilson being a part of that crew, and Charles Manson coming in and bringing some of his songs to the Beach Boys, and
for sure,
and Dennis trying to help him get a deal or whatever. So I mean, that was always glossed over. And the reason why it was glossed over back when Charles Manson was, arrested and all that kind of stuff was because the Beach Boys were so iconic.
Yeah, and they were trying to hide it.
And regardless of what people want to think about the media nowadays and stuff, but it was very simple. There was one thing, I believe it was in the LA Inquirer or whatever, that there was a short blurb story on it of Dennis Wilson and Charles Manson and the Beach Boys. And that was it.
Really?
And so it wasn't until probably about the late 80s that more stories started popping up about it.
That's
like
wild.
when the Beach Boys kind of had their resurgence with Kokomo and stuff like that. That's when the people started, tying things back and being like, holy shit, look at, and then that's when it blew up. And now it's like, a lot of people, you didn't know about it till recently, but like a lot of people that were like, holy shit, like, but it was hidden for so long.
Yeah, it's insane. I was like, I was on a drive home, and like somebody was driving. I was kind of sitting in the back seat, and they threw this. It was a long drive, and they threw this podcast on. And I was like, just listening to like, he picked up these two hippies on the side of the road, and there was these two chicks, and he was like prime Beach Boys. He was in a Ferrari, and then like Charles Manson just showed up at his house, and then that was like, guy never left. It was like crazy. It was a wild story. But yeah, that was dope. I don't even. All right. Anyway. So how I got into music.
Yeah. What was it?
The song that I knew. So like, when you're growing up, I guess when you're like in grade school, and you start to realize like, a lot of your friends are just listening to like the top hundreds, and then you always hear that one song that kind of was like, oh, well, I'm kind of into this genre. You know what I mean? Or it wasn't even genres back then. You were kind of just like, you heard a song, you're like, I want to hear more of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, it was, I heard it on, I used to watch surfing, and I don't even surf. I've never surfed in my life, but ESPN2 would have surfing on, and but they would have killer like soundtracks that would like that, they'd play songs just overdubbing like the surf videos, the competitions or whatever. And it was the exact song was Phoenix Ignition by Thrice.
Wow.
And that was like when I heard that, I was like, whoa, I was like, that was like dope. That was like I said, that's a great, like, it was just fast, and it was like, it started
different.
with acoustic guitar, and then it got real fast. I was like, this is definitely different than like anything I've heard. Like, how do I get more of this? You know what I mean? And then you're going to Tower Records, or you know what I mean? And that's when I bought that, I guess it was Identity Crisis, I believe was the CD that was off of, or album, whatever you want to call it. And then that's when I just went a different way than everyone that I was surrounded by.
Well, that was for me, like you mentioned surf video. For me in the 80s and 90s, it was skate videos. Like it was trading VHS skate videos, and you would literally hear all this music that you couldn't hear anywhere else. Like there was nowhere to find it. Like, yes, once you heard it for that time, then you rush to the store and try to find it. And thank God for independent record stores that would have the crazy stuff that you wouldn't always find at Tower Records, but you wouldn't find the Descendants at Tower Records. You would find it at your local indie store. But it was like hearing bands like that for me, especially when I got into my teens, and you kind of start to become shaped and find your own way through music after listening to whatever your parents or siblings were listening to. Yeah. And like, those moments, like I tell people all the time, like there's kind of a lost art with that nowadays, now that there isn't like all that crazy kind of stuff. And like the X Games, you're not getting like those X Game soundtracks to like what's going on, where it's the music that those, quote unquote cool kids on skateboards and two wheels and all that kind of stuff are listening to, that now it's just, okay, we're going to try to find it through Bandcamp or Spotify or Apple Music and do it that way. Even
back, like, man, like, I mean, and this was a little bit later, but like Tony Tony Hawk's Pro
Pro
Skater.
Skater. Oh
Those
yeah.
soundtracks were so
Yeah.
crazy, and it was like, and now looking back, it's like, oh, those songs were huge. You know what I mean? And like Dave Mears BMX, like all those video games and stuff, and like you would hear the
Even
tracks from there. It was like, these are like, that's how I heard of Melancholy, and that like bands like that. I was like, dude, these are dope.
Yeah, like a lot of those video games, like there was like one that was crazy that blew my mind was I remember it might have been Tiger Woods 99.
Okay.
Like PlayStation 2 or whatever. And
Yeah.
like Boy Sets Fires on there.
Nice.
But it was only bands that Tiger Woods liked that he would allow to be on his soundtrack. And it was like Boy Sets Fire. There was like a Jimmy Eat World song. I'm just like,
yeah.
Fuck, like this is awesome.
Yeah, it's like
a fucking golf game.
Yeah, exactly. Which is funny because back then you were like compilations were, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
getting like a Warped Tour compilation was like, oh, look at all these fucking bands, you know what I mean? It's like now, like you said, like you don't have that nowadays because everything's just like a shuffle and a playlist or something like that,
Yeah, and it's I'm going through since I've opened an independent record store and music venue, like I've been going through like all my old stuff and like pulling out stacks of CDs that were the old ones that you get handed to you at the record store that were just 27 songs from a record label with all their bands on it, and like just having stacks in these paper things. I'm like, man, I wish they were still doing that because I would just love to fucking constantly be handing that stuff out. But again, it's who's got CDs, who's got what, and that's always the hard part of finding. But like being able, someone said, hey, can you make me like a playlist? And I was like, and I wrote it down.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, like on Spotify. Well, I'm like, I wrote it down. Now you do it yourself. I'm like, I'm not going into that to create one. But here you go.
And that was back like, man, when you like heard something funny on the internet the other day was like a guy mentioned like, hey, there was a day when you burned your last CD and you didn't realize it was, that was it. You know what I mean? It's like, but back then, like even burning a CD, like you would put the tracks, I was very into music. So I would put the tracks in order, how like this is a good intro song, and then kind of like, hype up. And then towards the end, there'd be the slower songs and stuff like that. And that was kind of like, felt like an art, just burning a CD. And I was like, this is dope.
It was an art. It was, you were your own record producer, right?
Sure.
You were your own engineer. Like this is the way it should flow. And I still do that to this day with albums on Spotify. I actually take an album and I'll listen to it a couple times. I'll be like, man, I really like this. I'm like, but this shouldn't be the first song. And then I'll switch it around and make it the way that I think it should be. I'm like, that's me just being stupid and having some time on my hands. But there is an art form to that too, in creating an album track.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything you're saying, I'm with you, 100%.
You hearing Thrice and finding that little niche area of where you start going a certain direction. When did instruments become a part? When was it that you started playing music?
You know what? My brother started playing guitar probably like 2000, and I have a brother who's probably like 16 months older than me, like a year and some change. And I guess you're at that age, like you're a teenager, so it's like I wasn't competitive, but I was like, I'd see him doing something, I was like, oh, I want to do something like that. But I don't, at the time, guitar wasn't for me. I wasn't just like, I was more of a like, I like to hit things kind of thing. Like, cause I picked up a skateboard, I started skating. So it's like Thrice, then I picked up a skateboard. So now I'm like kind of skating around. Then my brother, he was definitely pretty influential in the stuff that I would pick up. I mean, he definitely went more of like the pop punk kind of stuff. And then, so then seeing him play guitar, even with like just a little garage band, like with his buddies, like, in 8th grade or not, going into high school. That's when I was like, hey, I want to play the drums, I want to get into that. And then you keep going from there. So it's like, you have that first eye-opening moment where it's like Thrice. And then it's like, you hear the next band. And then, you get into like, at the time it was like, I start to get into like 90s, 2000s, like Rancid and like Op Ivy. And I got into like a more punk phase, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then that stuff was like eye-opening for me. I was like, oh, this is kind of dope. You know what I mean? And I still had my Thrice on the side. And, there was definitely a time where I listen to like Avenged Sevenfold. You know what I mean?
Well, you're
I
a
can't
drummer,
deny.
so
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it wasn't like Bat Country. It was like
yeah.
their first whatever, that kind of just went along with the thrice stuff. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely that moment. Like in high school, I got into playing drums, and it was more like punk rock stuff, um, which was a lot of fun. And then that eventually turned into more of like I got exposed to more bands that were, I guess, like on like the hardcore kind of stuff. So like Blacklisted and bands like that were from Philly around the time. I worked in a rehearsal studio, just checking bands in. It was like an hourly thing. I kind of sat there. I was like 16, 17. And here would come like Blacklist that was renting the room to the right. You know what I mean? And they're playing all these like old songs of like, Eye for an Eye and stuff like that. I'm like, this is dope. I gotta go to one of these shows, And then I just became so like in that community, which was great. I definitely got into like I said, my brother went more pop punk, and I kind of just went into like, I guess, the beat down hardcore stuff for a while. But I mean, it was fun. I was like 17. I was like, this is great,
Okay, so you learn to play the drums, right?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
for
say
sure.
you go to, and you're in a couple bands. So what was the name of the very first band you were a part of?
So luckily enough, I was in a band called Through It All. But it was THRU. That's how we spelled it, because we were 18.
Yeah.
That was the first band, and we kind of, we were all like we were like end of high school, and we got signed by a record label called Jumpstart Records, and out of like Philly, Fishtown. And they dropped some releases back then, and this guy, his name's Jeremy, ran it, and he was like really into us. Like, I mean, back then you would have to like send your demo out to people, you know what I mean? And he was like, hey, I like you guys, a lot of energy. And so then, and it was funny enough, we got our demos recorded by this kid. So I grew up in Northeast Philly, and this kid lived around the block, and he did recordings in his basement. And his name is Will Yip, who is a pretty crazy producer, like Grammy like nominated producer. I don't know if you're familiar with him at all. He put out like the Turnover album, does a lot of stuff with like Anthony Green now. He pretty sure he's like part owner of Studio 4 down in like Conshohocken. But it was a kid that I grew up with, and we recorded in like his mom's basement. And now he's like, I mean, he's huge now, you know what I mean? But that's where we did recordings. We got hooked up with Jumpstart Records. I mean, this is literally my first band. And next thing I know, we're like 18 touring like the country in like Canada. And we're doing it off of MapQuest directions. Like there was no GPS. Like it was rough back then. Like we're going off of MySpace, like trying to book shows. It wasn't like, we definitely wasted a lot of money. Like our first tour, you know what I mean? Like we
Because
started,
you don't know what you're doing.
we had no idea. No, we
it's
didn't
not
have
like
anybody to tell us.
Yeah, you don't have a manager who's been doing it for 25 years
No,
dragging
it
you
was-
along.
Our first tour was an East Coast tour, and our first show was in Florida. We spent $700 driving down there, like in a van. Like I wasn't 700, but we spent so much money in gas driving. I was like, why? And like we're midway there. We're like, why don't we book a bunch of shows to get to Florida?
Yes.
And then play a bunch of shows. Like you said, we didn't have anybody to tell us.
No,
like,
you were
hey,
just happy to get a show, and
Oh yeah. I mean, and we're 18 and we're just three dudes in a van. Like this was exactly what we wanted. You know what I mean? But so I got really lucky. I mean, I got in that first band, and we just worked really hard. And because we came from, I guess, that area in Northeast Philly that nobody really had done that. Like in my circle, I mean, obviously there were bands that were touring, we're not the first band ever. But in our group of friends, nobody really did it. So we were kind of the first ones to kind of like just branch out. We're like, hey, we're gonna go play a show in like, in like DC or the Charm Space down in Baltimore, or like whatever. And it was like, and we it was fun. I had a blast doing it.
That's awesome. I mean,
yeah, so it worked out. But like, and that was like you said, that started out like as like a hardcore band, and that was my thing for like probably 2 years. I think we really ran that out.
That's an awesome beginning trajectory.
Yeah,
to music,
for sure. And then and it felt like when I like look back, I was like, oh, I did that. You know what I mean? As like even if I never get into that situation again where I can like tour or whatever, it was like, the old days. I did that,
Yeah.
20 years ago. I was touring this country, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
stories for the grandkids that they won't believe.
for sure. I mean, we weren't playing anything to write home about. You know what I mean? We were small venues, clubs. Sometimes people would show up, sometimes people wouldn't. We ran into Set Your Goals in like Tucson, Arizona, and we played a show with them. And then that's when I realized when I seen them and they're like set, and this is back when like Mutiny came out. I was like, these guys are good, like just professionally. You know what I mean? We were just kind of banging shit together, and those guys like they sounded tight, and then that's kind of was like an eye opener for our band. We're like, we gotta dial this in, which was dope.
I get it. Yeah. Well, I mean, when you get to stuff like that, it's when you start seeing people do what they do really well, and you're not sure if you do that yet.
Yeah.
Like that's, that's also the scary part. And that's also when like mutiny in a band starts, right?
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh shit. Like either we got to take this really seriously to try to get on that level or, all that kind of stuff. It's
what I think it's also like you never really or feel like you're good. You know what I mean? Like even when you said earlier, I was like, oh, I listened to a couple podcasts. You're like, oh, please don't listen. I'm like, this is a good, like the ones that I've listened to, I stayed in through the entire like hour and a half or whatever. I was like, you run a pretty good ship here, man. I just said like you don't really give yourself that much credit, but I was like, even the ones I listened to, I was like, oh, there's good questions. Like it's the people that you've had on were like good guests and stuff like that. I was like, that's pretty solid, because I didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah, no, and I understand that, and that's why I try to, my big thing is to not be that, like, I just want to have a conversation about music. It's so easy to talk about, and you can find so much commonality with someone that you've never met before in your life, just by talking about music. And there's not many other subjects that you can have healthy conversations about and really truly find out about somebody just based on their life through music. Like it's so, to me, it's always been eye-opening, and it's always been, I formed great relationships and great bonds because of music. And I just think there's so much more to be had out of humanity, especially when you can connect through, the commonality that is music.
Yeah, no, you're right. And sometimes I talk to people that aren't really into music and I don't get it. You know what I mean?
Fucking robots.
Like, they just don't like go through their day, and I'm like, what do you been listening to? They're like, Sabrina Carpenter, like whatever. I'm like, yeah, but like, is there anything that like
excites
like,
you?
Look at a little closet, something that you're kind of hiding or something. Yeah, just whatever's on TikTok. I'm like, look, this is crazy. There are some real robots out there. You're right.
Yeah,
I do not understand it.
Yeah, I think in my many years on this earth, I've only met one person who ever said to me, honestly, I don't listen to music. And I go, like, never? Like, you don't turn it? No. I'm like, so you don't like turn on the radio or own any records or CD?
Yeah.
Like, no, I just don't listen to music.
That person's insane.
Yeah, I'm like, and I just like, you're fucking soulless. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
You just drove off and left that person. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's weird, but at the same time, there's so much. My big thing with music, I tell people all the time, it's the only thing in the world that's always going to be there for you when you need it and not judge you. And it's really it. Like, and you can say that, oh, well, my family, my wife, no. Music is always there when you need it. And it always finds you when you least expect that you need it. And it will never judge you for listening to it. And like, that's the best part about it.
Hell yeah. I mean, there's definitely like songs you hear a million times and then out of nowhere you hear Linger and you're like, oh my God, man, I'm really getting spoke to. Hearing Linger right now, like, on a late drive home and it's night out. I'm like, you're kind of just in your feels. You're like, damn, man, I needed this right now. And then you listen to it for like a week straight. And then you realize I'm just listening to the Cranberries play Linger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but for that week, you were like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard.
Yeah. And that's the best part about it. And the thing is, you can get rid of it and always go back to it. That's always my, like, nowadays, there's a lot of bands who create a sound, right? And their first two albums or whatever, like you look at a band like Turnstile, first two albums, kind of exactly the same. It's fucking phenomenal. But then they start experimenting
Yeah.
And then they start doing different things. And then fans start going crazy. Well, this isn't the Turnstile I know. And then they get new fans that are like, well, this is the Turnstile I know and I love. And like, I'll tell people all the time, like, listen, people are allowed to mature. People are allowed to have their ears and eyes, hear and see different things. And bands can evolve and become something else. But the stuff that made you fall in love with them, you may not love what they're doing now, but the stuff that made you fall in love with them, it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
It's still there.
Still there. For sure.
So don't worry about it.
Yeah, you're right. And I think what's even crazier is these bands out here that are just still trucking along. Like you take a band like my homies, the Men Singers, are just putting out quality album after quality album. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, how can you? And they're obviously, if you listen to their early stuff to listen to what they're doing now, it's definitely different.
Oh yeah, it's totally different.
But
I'm a
still
huge
good.
Yeah, I'm a huge fucking Zinger fan, and like, I have friends who'd gotten into the Men Singers, 2 albums ago, right? And I'll be listening to the first album, and I'll be like, "What is this?" They're like, "It sounds familiar," but I'm like, "Dude, it's a fucking Men Singers." I'm like, "They're a punk band."
Yeah.
Like that's what they were.
Yup.
And you just have to, and like, no, I'm like, yes. Like this is, and bands evolve and people grow, and now they're just writing shit that's gonna fucking break you.
That's great.
I'm like, but that's not how everybody starts, right? But then you also have other bands who just find a formula, and then that's it. Like my big one that I always say, and people yell, man, like Jimmy Eat World, they found their formula after Bleed American, and they haven't changed since.
Yeah.
And that sometimes drives me crazy because they were a band that they changed their formula from the first thing they recorded to the second album, to the third album, to the fourth album. And then the fourth album, they found, oh, okay, this makes us popular. We're going to stay here.
Nice. Yeah. Jimmy, like Bleed America was such a dope. It was just fast. It's loud. You were like, oh, this is sick. Yeah, like you said, they found what was working and they just hit it.
Yeah.
We do appreciate that.
Now, what do you remember your first concert you ever saw in your entire life? First live music performance that wasn't your school band?
I mean, technically, it was like Teenage Ninja Mutants in Concert, I think was like the first one, which was, I don't even know where it was. I was like 4 or 5 or something like that. But as far as like going to like a real show, I don't really remember. It would have to be like one of the earlier like Warped Tours from like 2000 or 2001, something like that. And like, man, being like a kid back then, and there's every band that you like right now is just playing at 18 different stages. Like you're just running around like with your head cut off. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing else mattered. You know what I mean? And you're just surrounded by the music that you have all these CDs and that are on the video games you're playing and stuff like that. It's like, I wasn't drinking alcohol. I was like 17. I was like, yo, I need to go see Less Than Jake. You know what I mean? Or No Effects is playing here. And if I could see them and run over and catch, whoever, it's like, that's probably the earliest form of first concert that I can think of.
Yeah, and those concerts have always been, the most recent one where I did a 3-stage thing was Furnace Fest, where it was always like, to me, it's great for bands, right? And it's great for some people. For me as an old man now, it's like, but two bands that I really, really want to fucking see are playing at the same exact time. Like,
it's tough.
It's tough. Like I'll be out in Vegas next week. For Best Friends Forever Fest, and
oh nice,
4-Chord Fest did it well too, and now Best Friends Forever Fest is taking a little key from it. Is they have 2 huge stages set up next to each other.
Nice.
One band plays, and then as soon as that band is done, the other band is on the other stage ready to go.
Yep.
And like, you don't have to miss anything. You get to see everybody you want to see.
I like that. That's a great way to do it. And Warped Tour kind of did that, but not really. They just had their 2 main stages would alternate, but then, like you said, you were running into the dirt pit to go see whatever, you know what I mean? But that is a great, perfect setup. They should. I wish there's enough space to do local shows like that. You know what I mean? We could nail out a show in 2 hours. You know what I mean? You could see four bands or whatever the hell.
Yeah, and you don't have to run around like Stone Pony summer stage. Like everybody's, oh, dude, I love going there. I'm like, I don't, because I'm standing on asphalt the entire time, and I gotta wait 40 minutes before fucking another band comes on.
Something happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly. That's funny, man.
Do you have a favorite concert you've ever been to? Like one that just stands out in your mind that you just like can't believe like was so awesome?
Man, there's definitely a lot of like, so growing up in like Philadelphia and kind of getting into like the house shows, like when they were like, you didn't realize who you were seeing like at
Yeah.
the time, and you know what was going to happen. Like, my brother lived down in the city, and I would travel down. He would be like, "Hey, you got to come down to." There's a spot called the Golden Tea House. He's like, "Hey, you got to come down here." Like this is back when it was a lot smaller. He's like, "The Menzingers playing tonight." It's like, it's gonna be crazy. Like, I'll get you in or whatever, this and that. And we're like, dude, just seeing like the Menzingers in a kitchen, you know what I mean? It's like, that's like one of those memorable things where it's just like we're in somebody's living room. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm seeing Bridge and Tunnel, or something like that. It's like this, that was definitely like those shows that really stuck with me, like thinking back to them. And then, I seen Coheed and Cambria at like the Trocadero, like with like Rainer Maria, so many years ago. And they were so good musically that it was like one of those shows where I just kind of stood there with like my jaw dropped. I was like, this is crazy. They just did the 12-minute version of In Keeping the Secrets of Planet Earth, and I'm like, they could have played that for 12 more minutes and I would have enjoyed it,
Yeah.
So it's definitely like moments like those that really
Coheed's always for me. I only thought that there would ever be one band that would be successful writing songs about dragons and elves and, and
like
planets.
An alien invasion. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like Led Zeppelin had the market on that. I'm like, but Coheed was able to fucking do it too. I was like,
oh,
that's all.
Yeah, that's one of those. Coheed would be like so they have like the Sphere out there in Vegas.
Yeah,
I think Coheed would be a band for me that I would love to see. There's a question you can ask me. That would be a band for me I would love to see at the Sphere. Like just with visuals, like you're in that fucking dome or whatever. I think Coheed would put on a crazy like 2-hour set list.
Yeah, I think the problem with that though is there'd be so much vomiting with just like looking around at all this shit going around. It's like a crazy fucking ride at Disney where you're just like, especially after a couple fucking beers and you're just like, oh man, everybody's just getting fucking motion sick by watching that stuff. That's the only thing I'd be worried about.
How do you feel about the Sphere? Like, are you gonna try and maybe go to a show when you're out there, or you don't have enough time?
I'm literally
going for the show and then coming back.
Yeah, I'm flying in, going 3 days of the show, flying home. Like,
I got you.
And the show starts every day at noon and ends at midnight. So.
What a long day.
Yeah. But yeah, that's. I mean, I don't know who I would ever really. I mean, because it has to be a visual thing, right?
Oh, for sure. I think the Grateful Dead thing is like perfect for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Deadhead by any means, but I do know some classic rock. You know?
I'm not a Dead fan at all. But I mean, and no one who has ever been able to explain it to me.
Gotcha.
About the music, why you should like the Grateful Dead. It's always, oh, dude, like you just got to see them live, and it's like the experience. I go, oh, okay, so you don't like the music, you like the experience. I go, so they're an experience. Like that's different than liking the music.
Yeah. I gotta like the music.
Yeah.
Before I go to a 3-hour visual show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you one thing, you will never get me to a Fish concert. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if there's Fish fans out there, but
I don't
get it.
The best way I heard like Fish and Grateful Dead described, and now that's the only way I describe it. You have 8 people on stage all playing a different song at the same time.
I mean, that could be true. It's probably, you know what I mean? And to some of those people, even the people on stage, they probably are playing a different song.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think 8 is shy of what's probably really on. There's probably 12 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy, man.
All right. Here's a question for the band that you're currently in.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So if no one heard the band and you had to play one song to sum up exactly who you guys are as a band currently, what song of Graduation Speech would you play for someone, a random stranger who just says, oh, you're in a band and you got to play them one song? You only have a couple minutes and you play them one song. What is it?
The one song, I think I would have to go something off the new Arcane Feelings. I'm gonna go with Follow.
Time moves reluctantly, a slow pressure builds beneath. Spotlight sharpens the details. Just watch as the distance grows. A gesture that's bleeding blue, tired out and abused. Give it a moment more. Some say it's insanity. A heavy silence fills the gaps, wearing just like a crown. All hail the king and queen. All hail the king and queen. Pass it off just like money, a transaction you can trace. Circulates and lowers the value. It's outdated currency. Poison enters the bloodstream, numbs all the defenses. Put your mouth to the wound, spit out what you don't need. A heavy silence fills the gaps, wear it just like a crown. All hail the king and queen. All hail the king and queen. A heavy silence fills the gaps, wear it just like a crown. All hail the king and queen. All hail the king and queen. I'm choosing to follow the sounds. I'm choosing to follow the signals. I'm choosing to follow the sounds. I'm choosing to follow
For sure, for me.
Nice.
Yeah, there's this vocal part towards the end that Kevin, we figured it out in the studio as he was recording vocals, and it was like, he hits it, and then we kind of just go into like a little musical break. And for me, I think that really kind of sums up. That's the closest thing to like our live show, because there's definitely an intensity that we bring to a live show than that might fall off on just like the records, basically.
Well, I like that. I like having a live experience be different than what you hear recorded. You know,
Yeah.
simply, some people complain about it. I'm like, well, I've heard that record.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that song played 100 times because I love it. And
Yeah.
like, give me something a little bit different. Don't stray too far. Don't fucking Billy Corgan me and be like,
Oh yeah,
hey,
for sure.
Hey, here's the best song we ever wrote, and I'm gonna play it in a way that you don't even notice that it's the same song. Don't do that, but like, pick it up a tempo or two, and change it up just the slightest bit, but stay true to the song, but just make it feel a little different. I love that.
Well, you would love us live, and the main reason for that is we're not switching the songs up. I'm sure if Kevin had it his way, we would just nail the album versions all the time. There's times that I will just I'm not gonna mess up to the song, but there's just parts sometimes I don't remember, so we play something different. But I played it like I'm very like feel kind of like drummer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the rest of the guys kind of like they've never been in a they told me before, like the guitar player and the bassist, Billy and Brandon, and they were just like, yeah, we like playing with you because I don't have a click track, you know what I mean? I'm kind of just going off a feel, and if I feel like an outro should be extended, or like if we're just gonna go into halftime right now, like that's happening, boys. You better jump in, lock in, because we're going for the ride. You know what I mean? So we definitely play songs different live, and that a lot of the times it's because I forgot how that part went, and now we're doing this other part, but it kind of sounds really dope, and then it ends up sticking where we're like, hey, remember we played that one part? And we're like, So now we're in the process where we're like, man, we need to go back and re-record old songs because now we play them completely different than they were recorded. You know what I mean?
You just need to get a great place to record something live.
Yeah, I mean that would be probably very beneficial.
Yeah, I have a couple ideas where you can do that.
Yeah, you got a spot?
Yeah, I have a spot that's called Hidden Tracks in Boonton, New Jersey. So
nice. All right, well, we can definitely. I would love to. I think it'd be great. You just need to come out and hang out. I'd be in.
All right, in your life, you have a band that you constantly turn to that never lets you down. A band that I always just say Rolling Stone says it's your favorite band. I don't have. I just say there's a band that never lets you down. Like when you don't know what you want to listen to, you always find yourself going to listen to that band or artist.
I do, man. And I'm gonna say, and there's probably a million other people who have said this band, but it's got to be the Menzingers.
Not a million.
I could be at work and put them on. You know what I mean? And they have so many different albums and sounds that you can really find the one that you want. And I know those guys personally. And it was kind of like, they grew up in Scranton. But then I met them so long ago in Philly at like a Christmas party for like a record label. And they just kind of wasn't their label or whatever. They were just there hanging out. And ever since then, like I would just run into them. I played in bands. I was in a band called The Drug War, and we opened for Bomb the Music Industry and the Menzingers at a venue called Ava House, which the Menzingers went on to write a song about. And it was basically like this loft style like place in Philly. And then down below was like a auto mechanics garage. And if you were down below when like the show was going on upstairs, like you would thought the floor was going to cave in. And it's basically, I think, pretty sure what the song's about. Well, if you read the lyrics, I think there's another meaning, but I don't want to go into that. But no, I would say the Menzingers. I was actually, I got some pop-up video facts for you. After the party video, I'm in the background driving the forklift. I think it's pretty early. I would say it's like the first 30 seconds, I think. There's a guy driving a forklift in a brewery, and it's the brewery that Kevin works at. And I just happened to be there the day that they were recording it, and the band wasn't even there. There was a film crew just showed up. And they were like, hey, it'd be cool if like a forklift's moving in the background. I'd started looking around for people, because at the time I was just like a sales manager.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll drive the forklift. Fuck it. Like, let me hop on this thing. And
wait, did you have your 18 hours and your license for it or no?
So I was definitely certified, brother.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. I don't.
Sure. For that shoot. I was certified. Don't worry about it.
All right.
So that's my pop-up fact for that. And then I was also in the video Freaks, and which is I think a song mainly sung by Tom, and it's like a Halloweenish song. There's everyone's dressed up. It's like a big party, and I was dressed in a bear costume. So it was the dumbest idea by me because you can't even see my face. So this could be a lie, but I do still own the bear costume. But I'm in that video towards the end. If you see a bear floating around in that video, it's me for sure.
That's some great fucking VH1 pop-ups right now.
Yeah, there's your pop-ups. But that's it. I would say the Menzingers, man. They just hit everything,
Yeah. So do you have a moment or time of a performance that you ever had that's, kind of occupies a space in the back of your brain that for good or bad is just never going to go away? We usually like when they're bad, like when something really terrible happened, but and that's just for content. But a memory of a performance that you were ever, one of your bands ever played that just will never leave your brain.
I tried playing guitar one time live. And it was for like a weird like cover band battle of the bands thing, but it was like it was a bunch of breweries kind of came together and we played like a battle of the breweries kind of thing, and all I had to do was play like a couple parts and a couple Weezer songs, and my guitar was down so low that I just kept turning the knob down because I couldn't. We practiced like a couple times and I nailed it, and then. Man, when I got on the stage, I just couldn't play. I could play drums. You know what I mean? I could definitely play. I got on the stage. I could not play guitar. I was sweating. My back was sweating. I was like, eventually I turned my guitar all the way off and the sound guy was like, we can't hear you. I was like, yeah, because my guitar's off, brother. Like, I don't know what I'm doing up here. And I'm still moving my fingers. Like, you know what I mean? At that point, I'm just playing Rock Band.
Yeah.
I think that's when I learned I'll never step on stage with a guitar in my hands ever again. That for me was just like I was like, nah, no, I don't even know why I thought I could do that.
So now you're just stick to what I know.
Go put me in the back, man. Put me real far in the back. I'll put the cymbals in front of me if you gotta. That's where I belong. I'm comfortable back there. I don't know how people, lead guys do it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I get it.
That would be it for me, for sure. That was an eye-opening experience. I'll never do that again.
All right. So put your manhood aside. What was the last song you cried to?
Oh shit. Dude, this was like last week, and it was Radiohead. No surprises. Like the video. I don't know why. And it wasn't like a ball out. Like it was kind of like a tear. Like I was watching that, and I'm sure you're familiar with the video, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that the water fills up, and I had never really I'd seen the picture of the video, but I've never actually just watched the whole video.
Yeah, you never paid attention.
Yeah, and so then it was like I had it, the speakers were on, and I was like hearing the words differently than I have ever heard it before, and I'm watching this video, and everything kind of like lined up, and I'm like, holy shit, like that, and like I'm telling you right now, for the last week, I've been listening to OK Computer, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
just differently. I've been listening with like a different mindset, but that's a great question, and that was 100% the song. It was like last week at some point, late, and I get in these rabbit holes on YouTube, you know what I mean? And that came on, I was like, damn, like I was like, and then I was like, this is the greatest song I've ever heard. But
yeah, those rabbit holes are dangerous.
Oh my God, are they dangerous? Yeah, it's crazy. And then you want to watch. Then I had such a reaction. I was like, I need to watch and I don't get why I do this, but I watch other people react to the song that made me feel, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I enjoyed watching that. I want to see the other people react. Like, how are they reacting to this song? You know what I mean? And it was like the same thing. People were like, wow, this is like such like a well done video. You know what I mean?
Well, that's, my brain goes to that too. When I hear songs, I just create a music video in my head to it. And a lot of the times they're not the happiest of music videos I'm making in my head, but
for sure,
it's like, you hear something, you're like, I just I can vividly see this music video in my head to this song. And then it just, takes on a whole new experience too, every time I hear it.
Yeah. What was your last song you cried to?
Yeah, you don't ask questions. I'm the host.
Fuck. Dude, I just admitted to crying to Radiohead.
Yeah, no, hey, that's fine. That's awesome. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
I don't have to answer anything.
I got you. I cried my eyes out, man. I was like a baby. I was on the ground, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and can't tell you the last song I cried to, only because I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't, but I've just been to so many concerts recently too that music kind of at times gets mixed up in my head.
For sure.
Owning a record store and listening to music all day long, and then going to a concert, and then, or having concerts in the store. Like my head is so far, trust me, if I have a weeping, sobbing, snot bubble fucking cry to a song, I'll email you and say, hey, here it is.
For
here
sure.
it is. Just did it.
Oh, I cannot wait. Send me the song too. I wanna...
Oh no, trust me, I will. I share that all the time. All right. Well, all the music we've been talking about today has kind of a commonality and a thread to it. So, but there has to be some kind of music that you listen to that you get tons of enjoyment out of. And yes, you're an older gentleman now, and you don't give a fuck about what people think about you when you're listening to it. But I always go to this caveat: you're only human. So if someone walked in on you listening to something for 1 second, you would be really like, oh shit, they heard me listening to that.
Yeah.
What are you listening to at that moment? What's that guilty pleasure?
It's not even, I like Billie Eilish. I think that the songs are great. I really do. And so I'm going to go ahead. That is the guilty pleasure there.
All right.
You know what I mean? I don't, there's just and it's not like it's not like the stuff, I guess, the more popular. I mean, she definitely has some more deeper tracks that I'm like, I was like, oh man, these are pretty good. And apparently her and her brother are they're really good songwriters and musicians. You know what I mean? So I was like, there's definitely some really deep cuts from Billie. That aren't even that deep because she's you know,
Yeah, she's Billie
famous as
Eilish.
hell. Yeah. So they're not that deep. But if you just listen to the radio hits, there's some other stuff in there which definitely got some good emotion to it, which are nice, which I like. I like songs that kind of you feel something,
Yeah, no, I mean, evoking that emotion is what a good song does, right? And that's why a good song is a good song, no matter who's fucking singing it, playing it. A good song's a good song, and you can't deny good songs. Doesn't matter who's doing it.
100%.
5 minutes left to live. Meteors crashing into the earth.
Okay.
You can only listen to one song before it all ends. What song are you listening to?
Oh man. One song. Oh, this is crazy. Do people have this on the top of their head?
Yeah, it's usually the first thing that comes to their mind, pops out. Only one person had to email me the next day, and I said, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Definitely don't care. Yeah, I'm not gonna give you next day.
Yeah. No, listen, it's a tough question. I get it, but
what the hell is the song? I can't. Was it Hop Along? What's the last song off of Bark Your Head? I can't think of the name of it. It's long. It's called Prior Things. I just looked up real quick.
Okay.
It's a long song. It's like 7-8 minutes, but it is.
So you don't get to hear it. Well, what's your favorite part of the song then? Because are you going to hear it?
Oh shit! I forgot. It's 5 minutes.
5 minutes. It's 5 minutes.
Fucking kill me.
It's
you know
what
I mean?
Yeah. It's
I don't
NASA
know.
telling you got 5 minutes left.
They know it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, they know it's 5 minutes.
I think I'm still gonna go down with that one.
All right.
I do like that. There's so many good parts to that song. Prior Things, Hop Along. Put it on record.
Yeah. So
I hope
I'm going. What's funny is when we're done here, I do have another interview later, but I will go listen to it and find where it ends at.
Where I die? Yeah, I got you.
Where you die.
Hopefully, I don't miss a good part. You know what I mean? The end kind of plays out, so maybe I'm okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you own any like music memorabilia or something musically that you own and hold near and dear to your heart that you would like never get rid of or part with, or is the first thing you save in the fire?
Man, I'm definitely not a person to like hold, like my whole house can burn down and I'd be happy to get the insurance check. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now that this is on record and my house burns down, like I'm fucked. You know what I'm saying? Music stuff. You know what? I do have an upright piano that I got from a Philly house venue called the Golden Tea House. I have their upright piano. I don't even know if anybody who used to live there knows that I have the upright piano, but I do have it. If you want,
I hope no one's looking for it.
I hope no one's looking for it. I did take it apart and clean it and tune it. It's here. It's at my house. I'm up in Central Jersey, so you can come find it. I'm in the woods now. You're definitely not gonna find me now. But
yeah,
it's up here. Actually, sometimes I wish it wasn't there. It's so big. But I would say that's probably the only piece of. I mean, I'm not running back in to get the fire to push it out.
No, I get it, but it's
you know
like
what I mean.
But
that is a piece of like I look at it and I remember where it came from. I was like, oh damn, this is from like when I was like 19 going to house shows and seeing great shows. You know what I mean?
I totally understand.
For sure. Hell yeah.
All right, man. Well, we've been having fun for about an hour here, so I'm gonna ask you one more question before we go on to our final segment of the show for you. But with recently releasing the EP and seeing as well as it's doing, and I'm doing all I can to push it as well. I mean, what are you looking forward to most next with what graduation speech has to come?
Man, I would really love to get together. If this was like the ideal scenario and we just had all the time and money in the world to just do whatever we wanted, I would love to get back into the studio, re-record these old songs that people have been hearing live that are completely different than the recordings, or even like you said, do a live recording session. I think that would be. I think I would love to do that in our future, or just get out there and play shows, because that's when it's like the funnest. It's all this like the stuff, like this social media stuff, and it just really drains you sometimes. You know what I mean? But you gotta do it.
I know what you mean.
And it's like it pounds through your head. It's like that stuff really drains you, but then it all makes up for it, man. When you go play a gig and you're surrounded by people that are
Are
instant.
singing the songs.
Yeah, that,
Yeah.
or like, when you get done and you have people that have never even heard you before come up and be like, and it's like the most randomest people, and they're just like, "Hey, where can I like this. I'll take a t-shirt and a CD." And it's like, "Well, you like that? What do you mean?" All right, yeah, this is what you got going on. It's like
Yeah, that's why my big push is to everybody, like, hey, listen, fucking show up to the openers.
Yeah,
Like that's
for
why
sure.
I have like a hard fast rule in our venue space that, listen, if the show starts at 8 and you're not in the door by 8:10, I don't give a shit if you already bought a ticket. You're not fucking coming in.
Nice.
You don't have an hour and a half out of your life to pay attention to two fucking artists, because that's all I'm doing is two fucking artists.
Yeah,
If you don't have that time in your life and you're only paying for the headliner, then I don't fucking need you there. That's not what we're doing.
for sure.
You got to pay attention to the music. You got to it's not that much time. We're not asking for that much. So pay attention to that first person, because I've gone to plenty of shows where, yeah, I was there for the headliner, but I showed up early and turns out I wasn't there for the headliner. I was there for the opener.
Oh,
because
yeah.
that's what fucking made my day.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, we like that. And oh man, it's tough when you get to these shows and like the locals play and like the local band will play and then everyone leaves.
everyone
And you're just
leaves.
like,
Yeah,
what do we like?
that sucks.
And they figure out a way to trick you, and they're like, hey, we need to go on first because our guitar player needs to get home. But
Yeah.
like they end up just hanging out the whole time,
Yeah.
and we're like, what like why wouldn't you just play last? Because they don't want to play 11 or whatever the hell it is. But it's like, you and all your friends are still here. Like, what are we doing? Like, why can't we just band together and
Yeah.
just do this the normal way? Like, figure this out.
Yeah, it's one common goal. We want the
Yeah.
most ears on our
100%.
music.
That's why we're all here. And
Yeah.
it doesn't happen every show. You know what I mean?
No, but listen, trust
it
me, I know it happens.
It happens.
I
Yeah,
see it happen all the time. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, that fucking sucks.
It does.
But-
We're here
But
for it.
yeah. All right. So good stuff. Looking forward to hopefully seeing you live.
Yeah.
And seeing some crazy shit of the songs not sounding the same.
Oh, 100%.
So before we move on to our final threes, why don't you tell everybody how it is to find out and how they can find your music and purchase a t-shirt or whatever, or buy the albums digitally?
Yeah.
All the handles that you guys got.
For sure. I mean, definitely Instagram is probably we communicate. You could send us a message. I'll answer. Kevin will answer. And that's Graduation Speech NJ. And that's on Instagram. And then, there we have our link tree, and you'll be able to link and get the songs and the records and Arcane Feelings, which just dropped, which is great. And our Spotify, Graduation Speech, you can look us up. Bandcamp, and even our merch stores on the Instagram. So Instagram is the hub these days.
Yeah, it's the
that's
home.
where you want to go. Everything's there.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we are in our final segment, which is our weekly 3 segment. It's 3 things that you're listening to that you would like people to check out. You give your 3, then I give my 3 for the week.
Okay. All right. 3 just. All right. Let's do. Man, there's so many. I'll do 3. Night Windows from South Jersey. I mean, the guys are we've been playing a bunch of shows with them, and it is I'll tell you right now, when you like.
You don't have to tell me anything. I've listened to all of it, and I will be having them on the show on Thursday. So
that's great. And just playing and having them either play before you or play after you, it's nice to just kick back and be like, I love that. Like, I could watch them live. I've seen them live probably 10 times, and I can go 10 more. And they're all great people. They're so easy to talk to, and we share gear with them, and we did little weekend runs with them down into a little bit south states, and those guys are awesome. So Night Windows, 100%. Night Windows. Another band, new guys. I have a friend in it. They're called Dead Wrong. I think it's Dead Wrong PA on Instagram. But my buddy plays guitar. It's definitely a newer pop punk. What's that?
Steve?
No, Rob. This guy, Rob.
Okay.
You familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dead Wrong. I know Rob. I kind of grew up playing music with Rob in and out of bands or at shows since we were in high school. But they just played a show last weekend. I couldn't make it.
Yeah. Because the other guitarist, Steve, is the guitarist for Sleep Cycles.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dead Wrong PA. They're dope. And then I guess one more band. I'm gonna go not local. A band that I've just been listening to that I really loved the last year is Attaboy. Like indie, like slower indie rock, female front band, Attaboy. I think they're great.
Yeah.
They
are great.
They're starting to like get some pull, and they're playing a show in Philly, but it's on Halloween. I can't do it. I want to, but I'm like, fuck. And I'm like thinking, can I go to New York or like where else can I go? But Attaboy, I think that's definitely, I could throw them on at any time. And
Nice.
Check them out if you haven't.
Awesome.
Yep.
Good 3 for this week. I agree with you there. So good stuff. My 3 for this week. First one is a gentleman by the name of Owen Beverly. He's a part of other bands and stuff, but I actually found this perusing, and it's kind of singer-songwriter-ish, but it came out 10 years ago. And it's just fucking, it's one of those things when you hear it, you're like, why have I never heard this before? That's the type of music that it is. So is there like so he's been out for 10 years. Is there a lot of music, or is there like an album I should just check out? There's an EP and an album.
Okay.
That's easy. That's all he's got. So that's easy to find.
I'm writing these down. So
yeah. Second one is a band called Savings. They have an EP that I've been crushing on. It's How Do You Feel? They're like from New Mexico. They're emo-ish, I guess I would say. If you have to categorize somebody, that's where it is. Then last but not least is a band out of Michigan, kind of punk emo-ish as well, called Potion Cellar. One word, Potion Cellar. So those are my 3 for this week.
Nice. I'm into it. I like it.
Awesome. Well, Pat, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for giving us your story. Thank you for the music you've created with Kevin. It's been music to my ears.
Appreciate it, man.
Pun intended. And it is, it's always great when I can talk to artists who create something that is, becomes special to me and things that I want to share with people. So, thank you for doing that. Otherwise we wouldn't be talking today. So
for sure. Hey man, appreciate it. Thank you for all this unthankful work that you do, behind the scenes and really just pushing all these bands. And like I said, I listen to a few podcasts and I'm hooked now. You know what I mean? I think you can lock me in. I enjoy this. I like all the segments that I wasn't ready for. I thought I was ready for it and I wasn't. Yeah. But no, I'm in. You got a new follower, man. I'm down. I like this.
Well,
and I really definitely I want to get up there. I want to do some live stuff. I'm into that. We're not far, man. We're on Jersey.
We will figure it out.
Yeah, 100%.
We'll figure it out
for sure.
But everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to graduation speech, and have a great fucking time.
Grab the key from the book. Call out your name. You say you need a minute. Watch it burn to the filter. Turn the engine over. Cough out white fumes. Route 55 towards the coast. I think we're gonna make it. Brush the hair from your face. I think we ought to stay here. The floral dress that you wear should hold up for a few days. So let's get sun-soaked, get lost beneath the waves. So let's get sun-soaked, get lost beneath the waves. Caught up in our own train, sand fills the glass. A simple plan, a simple life, includes a porch with a view. Ivy crawls in the yard, you trim it back, but the thorns thirst for blood, always there to bring us back. Brush the hair from your face. I think we ought to stay here. The floral dress that you wear should hold up for a few days. So let's get sun-soaked, get lost beneath the waves. So let's get sun-soaked, get lost beneath the waves. So let's get sun-soaked, get lost beneath the waves.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.